Today is June 29th, 2023. Last night, I got to really thinking about the night before I called that agent back after I called the hotline when he showed up at Pamers. And I tried to tell him somebody told on me the night before and he called me a liar. Well, at Pamers, when Pamer freaked out, went, my God, I had an FBI agent in my office. He's right there. Well, I walked off. Some ladies they set up an Akron. He said he didn't care if she was being drugged, beaten, raped. And I got to thinking, I heard that before. Where did I hear that? Oh God, they did say that at Pamers that night, those two ladies, when I walked off. Then I got to thinking, last night, I've lived through so much, so you gotta give me a break. I walked in and I sat down. They followed me in and sat behind me, and were talking so I could hear. He did say that she was being drugged, beaten, raped. Now I got bruises, a swollen personal infection that won't go away. And I've been sick and vomiting. I already lost 18 pounds. And said if she was going to fake she was sick and fake she got well, he didn't care what they did to her. That she was supposed to even stood up in that funeral of that one guy and said God healed her and started walking around. That never happened. And he didn't care. He was going to let him do whatever he wanted to her. And Dave walked in and went, let's go. And I thought, what? They have to be lying. Pamer lied to that agent. That was Strange's lie so Dave could cheat. It was Strange's lie. So Dave could cheat. I told you. Around 2000, I doubled over in pain. And maybe right before 99 or something like that. I doubled over in pain. And Dave rushed me to the hospital. They did an emergency appendectomy. And the doctor said, well, it didn't look bad, but the way she's screaming, I took it out just to be safe. Well, 2 months later, I'm screaming in the same spot. I go back in the emergency room, same doctor. He's like, seeing me, he's like, were you ever checked for cysts? I said, what's cysts? Well, I had endometriosis. I was full of them. They started burning treatments and medication caused kidney stones. Started getting knocked out, getting stents taken in and out of my kidneys, trying to hold them open from the kidney stones that are forming from the mets. Well, they're exploding so bad inside me. My belly button, they had to go through it and then on the outside of it several times and try to repair stuff where they're exploding inside. Well, I'm getting knocked out for that. And then they exploded so many times that my uterus literally flipped over, and when I'd have my monthly, it would collect full of blood and I would gush out on the floor. I'd wear 3 pads. Okay? Well, it got so bad they did a lower hysterectomy, cut me lower hysterectomy at first. And then 2 months later, I start screaming again. The endometrius went into the ovaries. I had a cyst as big as a golf ball. They said if that explodes, you'll die. So they cut me side to side and took it out. All my ovaries out and tried to clean up some of the scar tissue. Well, a couple months later, I have a knot in my stomach. They knocked me out. Scar tissue collected into a ball. Okay. Then from being knocked out all those times, my gallbladder quit working and caused pancreatitis. I was really sick for a long time. They had to take my gallbladder out. And then I seemed to get better there for a while. And then all of a sudden I start bleeding. And I go to the emergency room. And one of the kidney stones had blocked one of the kidney. And the tube had kinked and went back up. And it was shooting up into the kidney and making the kidney bleed. So I have a 4-inch scar on my back. They cut my back. They went through, cut out the damaged part, and sewed it back together. I had been cut 6 to 10 times all over my stomach. You think if you have one surgery, you guard it. Imagine being cut all over your stomach and then your back. They gave me like a back brace, but it was more like a stomach girdle that wrapped around, trying to hold my stomach so I could sit up because all my muscles have been cut. Okay? I'm in so much pain. I should have just laid around the house and relaxed and went for short walks and not did anything for 6 months and got better. But stupid me went to pain management. I was diagnosed. I was holding myself like this because I was in so much pain. Okay? It caused all my muscles to lock up. And when they lock up and they tighten up, they get these little hard balls in them. They went in and I had to get 30 shots of steroids in my back and neck. I gained 100 pounds. They started me on alternative medicine. I started swelling. And I'm like, what's wrong with me? This is a medication. No, it's part of fibromyalgia. No, it's not. They were dead wrong on that one. Added more medication, start swelling more. And it kept getting worse and worse. My thyroid stopped working. They had more medication. And then my adrenal gland stopped working from all the steroids. So I had to take steroids. And then my pituitary gland started swelling. And my heart started getting off. And I'm swelling up like a Oompa Loompa. My knees, my legs are double the size. My knees are popping in and out. And they started pulling out turkey-based things of fluid and put more steroids in my knees. And the orthopedic doctor prescribed braces just to hold my knees in place because they would pop in and out of place. And my feet are size 7 shoes, and I was wearing 8.5 wides, and they were tight. It's like walking on 2 spring feet. They're so numb. And I'm falling. They give me canes just to stabilize myself. Now, around the house, I could walk around with nothing. I could just lean on something, toddle back and forth. A lot of times I fell. Crawl over to something and pull back up. Sometimes I couldn't get around without them, and sometimes I could. It matters how much swelling I had that day. Okay? But when I went out, I made sure I didn't fall by having the braces and canes on. Because my knees would literally just like pop out for a second and I'd go down from the fluid. Okay? Well, Joanne Young came up to me and she's like, Karen, I know this doctor that treats pain with pain medication, gets you out moving, you get better. And I'm desperate by then. I mean, my heart's been gotten off and everything. And I've been in the cardiac ward. And it's like I feel like I'm dying. I go in, he's like, I had a lady, not quite as bad as you, and I have her running on a treadmill. In 9 months, I thought, you're crazy, I'm dying. He started me on fentanyl patches, breakthrough Vicodins, if I had to take them. Fentanyl is 100 times stronger than morphine and 50 times stronger than heroin. And it's that strong. And they gave me muscle relaxers. He said, you've been tight so long, those muscles are so rigid. I don't even want you to try to exercise. I want you to learn just to relax. Try to relax. And as you relax, those blood will come back in those muscles. He said, and as they come back in the muscles, he said, then we can start moving. And the first month, I puked. All that pain medicine, threw up horribly. The amazing thing happened the second month, I could drive my car. I started pulling myself around stores, malls, back allotments, okay? Now, this is November, December. I start working with him. It's May. I'd already lost over 30 pounds. Like I said, I could walk around the house, lean on something. Sometimes I didn't have to. Other times I'd fall. Sometimes I couldn't at all. It mattered how much swelling. Matter of fact, one time when I was seeing Dr. Wilkie, one of the head rheumatologists at Cleveland Clinic, he's like, I don't want you to watch what I'm doing. I looked away, and he looked at me and said, you have very little feeling in your feet from the swelling. He was sticking needles in it, and I couldn't feel it because they were so swollen. Okay? Well, by May, I've been working with this guy for about 7 months, pulling myself around places. I was a size 24 women when it started. I was that big. And I'm already down to a size 16, 14, 16. I lost 30 more pounds. Okay. I would say a lot more to be that small. And he I was just toddling around the house with just the braces on, no canes, trying to get I walk like a penguin with those things on, just to try to get balance. But I'm getting so much better. Brian Laney showed up, and he's like, knocked on the door. All our kids are home, and we're working on the house. He's like, Tyler and Phil got killed. I said, they got killed. He said, in a traffic accident, Phil ran a stop sign and semi hit him. Church people were behind him. They called Strange, and he called him a liar, called him names, and hung up on him. It was horrible. They had to wait for the bodies to get to the hospital. Well, the funeral was awful. Phil wasn't showable, and Tyler's neck had got broke. Vega lost it, and he started screaming, and they had to carry him out. It was horrible. Phil was a lovely man, and Tyler was a sweetie. Okay? All right. Now, come July, we're in the 9th month. Like the guy said, it took 9 months for the other lady. Okay? A missionary shows up. He prays for me, gives me a football lecture. I want you to fight through the pain. I want you to rebuke the pain. I want you to fight. Gave me a football lecture. I was already fighting through the pain. As a matter of fact, I had even talked to Ron and Lisa the Saturday or the Sunday before that. Danny and Tyler were friends, and they were outside playing. And I can still see him with his foot long, or that roll up candy, holding it out. And we're laughing, and they're running around playing in the church parking lot. They're like, Karen, we see you out driving around all the time, pulling yourself around stores. You're doing so much better, you're going to kick it. I said, well, they talk about spontaneous remission. I can't wait for it to happen. Oh, you're going to get better. Wait, you're already so much better. You know, you're always out. Well, everybody was saying that about that at church. Everybody knew I went through those surgeries. Everybody seen me get sick, and everybody was seeing me get well. Right? Right. My mom was telling everybody. And, dear God, you can Google it. Goes into remission within 2 years, 80% of the time, and then it follows afterwards. It's a pain syndrome that your muscles locked up from being hurt. The swelling was a medication error on top of a medication error, and they were poisoning me. And they, like the nurse at Altman Family Physician, it was a medication error, and they didn't catch it. It's a good thing you got off of them. You went to a doctor and got on high doses of pain medicine. Well, after that missionary prayed for me, the next day I'm out on the paper road. I'm pulling myself around with the canes, trying to get balance. Second day, third day. The fourth day, it kicked. Everything stopped hurting. It was the weirdest thing. From where they were spasming and so tight. Now, my feet had already went from being an 8.5 wide down to an 8. Now, I wear 7.5. Okay? And I could wear regular shoes. I didn't have to get the wides. They had already went down that much. Did anything have to do with anything? No. The doctor said it took 9 months for the other lady to get well, and it took 9 months for mine to kick, just like the doctor said. Nothing had to do with anything. It took me 4 to 6 months to get off all that pain medicine. It was horrible. But then I was well. I sure couldn't run on a treadmill, but I could walk around. And I still fell for 2 more months. I fell in Macy's at Iraq. I was so embarrassed. It's because all the numbness wasn't gone. Every once in a while, it's like having spring feet because they're so swollen. I had nothing to do with nothing. Well, Katie had came back to church. Trish is her sister, and me and her were best friends at one point. And she'd come over and say, Karen, don't tell on me. I go to the bars with her. She's crazy. She'll get mad at these women. She'll take their boyfriend, their husband out to the car, have sex with them, go back in and get bar fights. She's crazy. She'll sleep with anything. Well, Dave knew the stories. She shows up at church with a high slit skirt, and we're all dressed like Mennonites with the long hair, buns, modest dressing. And she's for, to all the guys. Yeah, well, he knew the stories. Uh-huh. Well, I told you Danny was acting out, going drinking with older kids at the church, and he's 13. He had just turned 14, and I've been grounding him all summer, him and Josh, 13 and 15, for going out drinking with 20-year-old kids. They're not going to do it, but because they were uh, related to step grandchildren of strangers, David let them go. It's like, no, they won't. Okay? And he comes in one day after Sunday school. You're not my mother. I don't have to listen to you. It's like, you're 14. You're grounded. You won't talk to me that way. He runs out, and then we go over to Heather and Brazilia's house. Heather's was his girlfriend. Her mom, Joy, was home, and Brasilia was there and said, Danny's thinking of killing himself. I said, what do you mean killing himself? He said they're wanting him to destroy people at the church. Okay? And I'm driving around panicked because I got this kid acting out. Now I'm finding out from his girlfriend's mother that he'd been talking about trying to kill himself. So I see Strange's vehicle at the church. I told Josh to sit out in the car, and I don't want him to know he's acting out. So I step in the church. I said, hey, have you seen Danny? He pins me to my face. He's like, confess you were never sick. I wouldn't do that. I got scars all over me. I got MRI reports, blood work, doctor's reports. Why would no? He's like, you're a spoiled little brat. Nobody liked you in the church. I'm like, well, you never did like me. He's like, get on my church, and you'll be lucky to see your kid again. I go to walk out, and I got malt on my face, and Josh is like, I said, take me up to Pizza Hut, because Dave wasn't always working these big jobs. Okay? Takes me up there. He's like, I'll clock out, go home, and I'll go see what he wants. He went over there. He came home and said, Strange says you're Satan. You can't go to church anymore. I went, why can't I go to church anymore? He's like, I said, where's Danny? He'll give him back when he's done. I said, what do you mean give him back when he's done? I call my mom. She calls Nick. She says, you better get back Danny. He said, we'll give him back when we're done. She wouldn't go back because she was afraid they would take her. They started nailing her tires till she moved to Illinois. The authorities in Illinois said they probably would have killed her if she went and left. Okay? Well, I get Danny back. He's shaking. No, he lied. Next morning, I hear the car start up. I run outside. He's racing towards a tree, and I'm screaming, running after him, and the car veers off to the side, and he's passed out in the seat. Get that home, leave him alone for a moment. Go to the bathroom. I hear the dirt bike start up. I run outside. He's racing towards the telephone pole. I'm screaming. He looks back, and he rocks. We end up in the Child and Adolescent Center. He told Georgina Fovusa that Strange took him that day, screamed at him in the pulpit till he passed out, and starved him all day till he did what he wanted. And he didn't remember half that day. He was diagnosed with post-traumatic syndrome. He became bulimic. I had to go get a job because Dave didn't have insurance, so he could get counseling and medication for 2 years. Georgine called Danny, said, I want to know about that minister taking Danny. He said, I wouldn't talk to you without a lawyer. Why did he do that? Because Kitty came back. I'd have to sit home with the kids, and he could cheat with whoever he wanted. That's why. It was a made-up lie so that he could cheat. Do you know he even told people just the sight of me would hurt the church's children? I am not that ugly. The sight of me. I am not that ugly. Just the sight of me. Not that I personally would, but just looking at me. And they fell for him. The sight of me. They fell for it. They're called people. So for that agent, well, he knew there was a 25 grand hit on my life. For him to go up to that church and talk to Paymer, and Paymer lied to him. I got well 2 months later, and I have been working out for 9 months with a doctor. Had nothing to do with nothing. And for him to fall for their stunt, and where, how could I, now come on, how could he fall for an occult have me stalked. Dave, okay, I am not. We abolished slavery in 1860. No man can own another man. No man can own another man. Dave cannot give them special permission over me. You know that, right? I have the right to privacy within my own home. I have the right to remain quiet, and a right to an attorney, and a right to a fair court trial, bail and bond. And I have a right to privacy. I have federal constitutional rights that are endowed over every citizen. Dave did not own me. He could not give special permission for a drug cartel, and a retired judge messed up in him, to kick in my door, break in, date rape, drug me with amnesia drugs, tell me you say something stupid, wake up with bruises all over, human traffic me out of that house under drugs, and I'd wake up with bruises, throwing up, heart racing, almost passing out, outside, even in front of the neighbors, and a swollen personal infection treated by Altman Family Physician for migraine headaches, throwing up, dizzy, heart racing, almost passing out, and covered in bruises and a severe personal infection all summer long. And they didn't know what was wrong with me, and they thought I was becoming anemic. That's where all the bruises were coming from. Here I'm being drugged, beaten, raped, and human trafficked under drugs from an occult. My ex-husband is not my pimp, and he did not own me to pimp me out under drugs. Nor could he hire, like they said, that idiot couldn't hire a stalker. There's a right to privacy over a house. So where they laughed at FBI agent John on June 7th, 23 at Walmart 62 for falling for their stunt of the photoshopping of a shower scene and drugging me with amnesia drugs and telling me to say whatever shit is. Because Dave was cheating again with Katie. Some guy out in North Canton, outside my client, said, oh my goodness, we found out nobody had a right in her home before. Don't say a word to her. Duh! Dave can't give them special permission to drug, beat, and rape me, sell videos of me and him in bed, let alone Photoshop a shower scene and date rape, drug me, and some sleepwalking with amnesia drugs, a drug cartel. Because of that idiot agent, those human traffickers got set up here in 18, and they were using the drug traders out of this area to get their drugs. And people have died around me, and we all have the same story of the same people. And where they said, FBI agent John fell for the stunt of the tapes before. What on earth? Oh, come on now. He actually fell for it? You're kidding. It was just a stunt. John actually fell for it. That FBI agent John actually fell for the stunt of the tapes before? You're kidding. It was just a stunt. He fell for it. Is that why they got away with it? He actually fell for it. June 7th, 23, Walmart 62, about 11 o'clock in the morning by the ladies' bathroom, taping audio through the whole store. Lighthouse Tabernacle, calling that agent out. People have died around me. People have been taken by a drug cartel that was human trafficking people out of this area. They had said that he told all those officers that were assigned to me not to help me. You better help me. You better turn him in. Failure to protect is abuse and misconduct. Like the Tuscarora sheriff said, you can never tell anybody not to believe somebody and not to help them. You go to jail for that. It can be life in federal. I'm telling you, that agent, I was promised $5,000 a month for working this case, immunity for working this case. I wouldn't have thought he did anything. But Stark County Sheriff's mentioned the case, North Canton Jackson Police, Canal Fulton Police, Hartville Police. I go places, and they mention Karen around the house or Karen's well. He opened a real case with statements. Had a cop talk to Dave the next day. After he bullied me like hell on the phone, listed me informant, $5,000 a month, immunity, and when you tell him, then he flip-flopped. He already was the one verified by officers, November 6, 22 at Trinity Gospel, that he told on me the night before. Oh my Lord, and they walked out. Everybody knows, clear up into Akron, that he told on me. And he knew I was being drugged, beaten, raped out of that house, and he didn't care. They called him a paid-off dirty agent in the mall in February of 19. Everybody needs to turn him in. This whole thing is nothing but Lighthouse Tabernacle and a drug cartel. Pulling a fast one, trying to tell people I have charges and nobody ever talked to me. Don't tell her. How could you fall for that? We have a legal system. I've never even been questioned on wrongdoing. Why? This is found innocent of everything. In 18, the police actually worked the case. They interviewed my whole family. They spoke highly of me. And in protected custody, Mel's kids got caught stating they wanted the house for Auntie Shaw and Papa, and they made everything up to Flora. Flora ratted them out October 23rd, 2019. Of course, it never happened. Of course, it wasn't true. We made it up. They were games of pretend. I spanked her. Participate in me games of pretend. And they're documented me games of pretend. They were acting out for the girlfriend. Like they said, they're just trying to scare her out of the house. They want to be a little extortionist, they can go to jail. Huh? The photoshopping of a shower scene. Even my one client's like, who's that crazy Melissa? They all talk about lying. It's like, oh, the ex-daughter-in-law friends with ex's girlfriend may have the kids make up a bunch of me games to pretend in front of the police. He's like, she's crazy. I said, no, she is. See, and that's where March 23rd, 23, two young investigators, undercover police officers, we told these people stay out of it. We interviewed her whole family a long time ago. She never hurt anybody, and nobody ever seen anything. She never hurt anybody, and nobody's ever seen anything. They told everybody in Walmart in 18 and 19, my whole family spoke highly of me. And they've told them several times. I sacrificed a lot for my kids and then laid my life down and let those people go after me so they wouldn't die. How dare these people? I've had people that work the case. How dare these people ever insult her? She almost died to save those people. I did. I was raped, tortured. I had my skull crushed in. On 12/21/18, raped and tortured July to September 19th by a drug cartel and an evil cult, impersonating federal officers. But there was a real agent over my case, and he fed me back to the animals, and he needs to be arrested.